Now, when it comes to Diamond Dynasty, I believe that there are tips and tricks that you newcomers to Diamond Dynasty and even experienced players that might not know of them should know about. So if you're new to this channel, end up enjoying today's content, please make sure to hit that like button, red subscribe button, turn on that channel notification bell. Throughout the video, we will be having cards pop out in the top right. If any of them catch your eye, please make sure to click on them. We have a ton of playlists on the channel. You can click on the channel playlist and go ahead and check whatever interests you. Community tab, interact with me there. More Bhlademyst section, go ahead and subscribe to my other YouTube channels. And if you would like to become a member of the channel and support me an extra way, you can go ahead and do so by pressing that join button next to that red subscribe button. Let's talk about the tips and tricks that I think each and every single new player to Diamond Dynasty should know about. So the first one is going to be inside edge, and how exactly does it work? So a lot of people, most of the times, they see a live series player and they see that it is playing up. For example, let's go to one of our live series players, Giancarlo Stanton. You see that he's an 84 overall, but underneath it's saying he's an 85 overall, and he's not paralleled. It's just his inside edge. What is inside edge? Well, if we go ahead and back out and head to where it says inside edge and roster update, and we press inside edge matchup rating, we get an overview of what's actually happening. And what inside edge basically is it takes into account the opponent that specific player is facing off against, and whether or not he is favored or unfavored. And depending on how well he is favored, he gets attribute boosts, and dependent on how well he is unfavored, he gets decreased attribute boost. And you will not see the attribute boost reflected upon the player card. So for example, if we talk about Giancarlo Stanton or even Hansel Robles right now, you see that his base stat for K per 9 is a 65, and for walks per 9 is a 56. That is not with the plus 15 taken into account. The plus 15 would be added once you enter a game with him. So if you were to press his card inside the game, you would see that it actually shows 80k per 9 and then 71 walk per 9. Now that is only for that day. Once it hits 3 a.m. Eastern time, 12 Pacific time, it resets and it takes into account the matchup favoritism or unfavoritism for that next day. So I want you to keep that in mind. Just because Giancarlo Stanton or any live series player in general, let's go to live series players actually to just go ahead and continue talking about it. Just because Mookie Betts is playing up to a 94 today does not mean that he's going to be playing up to a 94 tomorrow. And it does not mean that 1 week from now he's going to be playing up to a 94. He could be playing up to a 93, and he could have attribute boosted but not be overall upgraded, because sometimes he is favored, but he's favored very weakly, so he could only be getting a +1 to each side, and that isn't going to change him from a 92 to a 93. So if you press triangle, you would see the +1, but it wouldn't be reflected upon the card because it didn't give him an overall boost. But whenever it does give them an overall boost, you will see it reflected upon the card, where it will tell you, hey, he's actually a 92 overall, but because he's favored, he goes up to a 94. And the same thing happens if he's unfavored. Hey, he's actually a 92 overall, but because he's unfavored, he drops down to a 90. And instead of, let's say, adding 8 to his contact versus right and power versus right, they would subtract 8 to his contact versus right and power versus right, and it wouldn't be reflective on the card. It would actually show it inside the game once you press on the player card art. What I would do is, whenever you see inside edge, whatever those numbers is, you either add or subtract, and that's what their actual attributes are for the day. So Mookie Betts for today is going to have 92 contact versus right, and then 85 power versus right. If it was minus, he would have 76 contact versus right, and then 69 power versus right. And instead of being up to a 94, he would actually probably be down to a 91 or down to a 90, something along those lines. Now that's what happens when it comes to inside edge. Then let's talk about stamina, and let's talk about pitchers. So when it comes to playing ranked seasons, battle royale, and events, energy is a key factor in each and every single pitcher. If you use a starting pitcher in one game, you most likely will not be able to use that starting pitcher again until the 5th game you play or 6th game you play, because it regenerates energy as if it was pitching in real life. And normally pitchers pitch every single 5 days, so every single 5 games the energy will be replenished, or as you play games the energy will be replenished. So one thing that a lot of people do is they run 6-man rotations, where let's say they throw out Jack Flaherty and he pitches a complete game and he has absolutely no energy left. They pitch with guy number 2, they pitch with guy number 3, they pitch with guy number 4, and then they pitch with guy number 5. And instead of taking out guy number 2 because let's say Jack Flaherty still has no energy or not enough energy to go start a game, they take out guy number 5, they insert one more pitcher, that guy pitches the 6th game, and then after the 6th game Jack Flaherty is back to fully energized. You go ahead and put back your normal 5th starter and then pitch with the next 4 guys. The 5th starter is back to fully energized. You go ahead and pitch with him. Now, one thing to keep in mind as well is whenever you take a player out of the starting rotation or out of the bullpen and he's out of energy, you playing games without him in the actual game rosters, meaning without him in either 1 through 5 or the bullpen, it does not restore his energy. It only restores his energy when he is inside your roster. Keep that in mind, because a lot of people might think, okay, Jack Flaherty pitched game 1, I'm just going to go ahead and put, let's say, Trevor Bauer in for him, and as I continue playing these games his energy is going to replenish, and then after 5 games I'll be able to sit down Trevor Bauer and put Jack Flaherty, and Jack Flaherty will have full energy. No, that's not the case. Jack Flaherty will only get his energy replenished if he sits down on the bench while other pitchers are pitching and he's still sitting in your 5-man rotation. That's the only way. The next thing I want to talk about is basically how to get your logo on single player modes like Conquest, and even just playing online, how to have that icon basically appear. And in order to do that, you have to go to where it says customize, you have to go to logo editor, and whatever your team logo is, you have to put it on each and every single little piece. You can't see it here because I actually have it white, but it's white here, it's white here, it's white here, it's white here. So you will be seeing a line on each and every single one, and it's going to be a white line on each and every single one. Whatever your team icon is, your team logo is, you're going to want to insert it on each and every single one. Now, if you have custom uniforms, unfortunately this might affect it to a certain extent, but you want to make sure that you have each and every single logo printed on each and every single section if you want it to show in the scorecard whenever you play online, or in Conquest whenever you go ahead and capture territories. Another thing to do is basically when you want to actually wear uniforms and not wear no ketchup and mustard, yellow and red, or any of those other horrible combinations, just go into edit uniforms and please put on either some MLB uniforms or some minor league uniforms and wear them according to either road or home. Stop wearing them ugly uniforms with absolutely no lettering, just different colors, because that's what they do. They look ugly. Now, what's another tip I have for you all? Another tip is you can actually decide whether you want a player to slide feet first, whether you want him to slide to the left, whether you want him to slide towards the right, or whether you want him to slide straight forward, hands first. And the easiest way for me to describe this is by looking at your right analog stick. So if you push your right analog stick up, the player is going to slide head first straight in. If you point it to the left, he's going to go ahead and slide towards the left. Basically, the right hand is going to try to touch the bag while avoiding the tag. So if the throw is coming from right field, you're going to want to make him slide towards the left by selecting the runner, and while he's approaching the base, just going ahead and toggling it to the right, which is probably the left on the video because it's reversed, or maybe it's not reversed, but you basically just want to move this towards that direction, and he's going to try to avoid it in whichever direction you pointed. So if I was trying to avoid a tag coming from the catcher, I would slide to the right, and all I would do is I would move my analog stick to the right. If you want to slide in feet first, then all you do is bring your analog stick down, and then head first, as I dictated earlier, is gonna be pushing the analog stick up. Now, let's talk about packs real quick. and the best time to open packs. The best times to open packs, in my personal opinion, is going to be on Fridays after they do any sort of roster update, because if there is a new common card or a new bronze card, silver, gold, whatever tier card there is that they add to the game that is a live series player, meaning not legend or flashback or whatever the hell, if there is a new one and you get them instantly from one of those packs, you're going to be able to make a big bang for your buck. So if it's Thursday night, Wednesday night, and you have a ton of packs left to open, I would suggest holding, being patient, and waiting till Friday. Once Friday hits, I would open up all those packs, and then you have an opportunity of pulling some rare live series players, or even pulling any of the new diamonds in the game, or any of the players that have been upgraded to higher tiers. And unfortunately, you also have the chance of pulling any player that has been downgraded from diamond to gold and missing out on that chance. And then last but not least, some tips I want to give you guys is in regards to Conquest, which is basically my specialty. And the first thing I want to let you all know is whenever you see a territory have a team's icon, that means you have to play that territory. You cannot simulate this. You have to play the stronghold each and every single time. And that's what it's called whenever a territory has an icon on it. We call that a stronghold, and you need to capture the stronghold. That's why it's called Conquest, because you're trying to capture each and every single stronghold and make it your territory. Another tip that I want to give you all, and I want to go to a big diamond map. So for example, this is a pretty big one, is how to use the phases correctly. So this is the attack phase. You're basically looking to get next to a stronghold almost on each and every single Conquest map. And when you get next to the stronghold, all you end up doing is attacking it. Now, let's say I wanted to face them on veteran difficulty, and I'm saying to myself, there is no way in hell I'm beating the Twins on all-star difficulty. That's fine. You don't have to play them on all-star difficulty. All you have to do is press the options button, skip to steal fans, then skip to reinforce, and then just reinforce that territory, then skip to attack, and check if once you go to attack, it allows you to play him at that. It doesn't, you do it again. You skip to steal, you might get attacked by the stronghold. If you win that and don't lose any fans, you'll be very lucky. You go ahead, reinforce again. Hopefully by that time you'll have a lot more fans, and then you continue doing this process of rinse and repeating until you have enough fans to play them at your desired difficulty. Now let's talk about the steal fans phase. The steal fans phase in general is not one that is widely used by many players. You only do it whenever you have a mission that requires you to steal fans, and all it does is, let's say they have, or not let's say, they have 7 million fans there. So if we wanted to go ahead and steal fans from them, we would pick a difficulty to play them on, and depending on the difficulty, it will allow us to take a certain amount of fans. Once a team has 1 million fans or a certain amount left, no matter what the difficulty is, you're only going to be able to take that certain amount left from them, but it will never drop below 1. Now, let's say we played them on Legend in terms of steal fans and we beat them, they would get 5 subtracted from their total, and it would be added to us in the next reinforced phase. So in the next reinforced phase, instead of us getting a +1, we would actually be getting a +6, because we would be getting the 1 plus the 5 that we just stole from the Minnesota Twins. Now that is how steal fans work. Now when it comes to reinforce, it's pretty simple. Each 3 territories gives you an extra reinforcement. So if we were to move and basically spread out this 11 that we have here, it would give us 3 more reinforcements, because 11 divided by 3 is going to give you 3 and a remainder. So you get 3 reinforcements for sure. And when you capture an extra territory, it's going to give you that 12, which is going to give you an extra reinforcement. And that's basically how reinforcements work. Now, whenever someone captures your territory, it does have an effect on the amount of reinforcements you have remaining. So you want to make sure if someone captures your territory that you go ahead back and get that territory back as well. Now, when we're talking about the move fans phase, this phase is also important, because when it comes to territory attacking your path, if it disconnects you from your stronghold, or it disconnects you from any path in general, then you won't be able to move the fans to the end or wherever that path is as long as it's disconnected. So for example, if the Giants came here and they ate us right here, pause, we wouldn't be able to move fans over here unless we had a separate path that connected us back to our stronghold, or a separate path that connected us to this territory right here once again. And then the last phase is going to be the first one once again, which is the attack phase, and that's just to attack strongholds. So I hope each and every single new player of MLB The Show is able to learn from these tips and tricks and become a better player in general, whether it comes to just learning about the game or playing Conquest in general. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.